And I'm Brandon, and this is how I met my Ugandan wife.
Yes.
And today we're picking up where we left off last time. We're going to talk a little bit more about my first trip here to Uganda, my expectations, and what actually happened, when I got here.
Yeah. So we're going to continue from where we stopped after him getting the passport and then deciding to come after all the fight. After the
You okay?
Yes.
We're both a little bit under the weather, so bear with us.
Yeah.
So initially, once I got comfortable and I did my research and everything, I still did not have a clue what to expect. I didn't know what was going to happen when we met. I knew how things were, when we were video chatting and texting. I didn't know if it was going to be the same when we met in person or if it was going to be even better.
Yeah.
Or
even worse.
Or even worse. So initially, I only planned on being here for like 4 or 5 days.
So what were your expectations? What were your expectations of me after you got the ticket? I know we are talking, but then what were your expectations?
My expectations were hoping that when we met, it was going to be the same chemistry that we had for the past year and a half. I didn't want anything to be different. I wanted things to be the same and just for it to continue to grow and get better.
Yeah.
So that was my expectation, was for things to be just like it was when we've been talking the past year and a half, but for it to be even better because we're in person.
I think I had the same expectation. I was like, I hope we do feel the same way after we meet, and we still feel the same when all the feelings we asked when you finally get to hug and all that, you can still having the same feelings. And I was praying to God he's not sure. I was like,
as long as I was taller than her.
I was like, as long as he's taller than me, I'm good.
But I'm not a tall guy, but I'm taller than her, thank God.
Yeah, that's what I was. I think even my brother was telling me when I was going to the airport to pick him, he's like, well, I hope he's not short. Because some of my brothers are really tall. Like, I have tall brothers. So, like, I hope he's not short. So I was also, like, praying. I didn't care how tall he is as long as he's taller than me. So that was one expectation I had. Besides all the feeling, I'm like, I hope he's not short. So what were your expectations besides how you feel?
Like, what do you mean?
Besides like when you meet and you feel you still had those feelings. So besides the feeling and all that, what did you expect? What were your expectations? Or you were not like me thinking about your looks?
No, I wasn't worried about looks. I had a whole year and a half of looking at you. I was satisfied. I didn't have to feel like I was being catfish or
I was also
to be
looking
convinced.
at you like with the video call, but I didn't know your height.
Yeah, well, I guess that's the one thing we weren't sure about. I wasn't sure how short she was or how tall she was.
Yeah.
And she felt the same way, so we didn't really know. But when we met, she was a good height, and I was a good height. We were a good match. It all worked out.
Yeah.
But I really didn't have any expectations about the physical. I was cool with the physical either way. You could have been taller than me, and I would have been okay with it.
No.
Yeah. But
well, I wouldn't.
She would have shipped me back.
If you were short, I wouldn't.
She'd be like, turn around, get back on the airplane.
I wouldn't do that. But I'm glad you were taller than me.
Yeah. So I had originally planned my trip to be 4
days.
4 days. Cause
it was 4 days.
I wasn't sure because I was like, well, if it's not if the chemistry isn't right or we don't get along or something's wrong, I didn't want to stay there for like 2 weeks and it just be miserable. I was like, if it turns out to be miserable, power went out. Technical difficulties really.
Yeah.
Okay, we're back.
So you had come for only for 4 days?
Yeah, so I had only originally planned on staying for 4 days, but that didn't last very long. We met at the airport for the first time, and it was like, love at first sight. All the chemistry was there. and we were in the taxi on the way back.
Yeah, because he came like during the lockdown. The first trip was really during the lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
So in Uganda they were not allowing like cars, private cars to move. So they're allowing only tourist vans
Right.
to move. So I rented out a tourist van to go pick him up with me. And then
what did I tell you once we got in the tourist van and we were on the way home?
I was sending my ticket. It was like, I'm not leaving in 4 days. So I'm extending my ticket. I'm like,
It's
what?
gonna it went from 4 days to 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
In about 5 minutes of meeting her.
I guess the Ugandan sauce. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's that pearl of Africa magic she had.
Yeah, so it changed from 4 days to 2 weeks in just 5 minutes of meeting. Yeah.
And then after that, I started to meet her family. And that was interesting. I guess it was kind of like, when someone's someone new is coming into the circle, you have to, vet them first, so to speak. You have to make sure that they're okay. And so when I first got there, her family was calling and texting every 5 minutes, making sure she was okay, making sure that this crazy American hadn't done anything. Because if I had, they would have came over.
Because I'm really close to my family. Like, we are really close.
Yeah.
And we're friends. Like, we are siblings, but we are definitely friends. So when he came, I think you came on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
And then my family came over on Friday, where we're staying.
Mm-hmm. They didn't come by the first night I was here?
No, you had actually found one. Since we are staying at my sister's apartment.
Yeah, I met.
So some of them were there.
Yeah.
So you met on that same day, I think a few of them, and they were testing. You were telling me how I have a husband.
Yeah.
Like, do you know Hajarah has a husband?
They wanted to see my reaction to see if I would get mad or take it seriously. Because I guess, you say something like that over here,
You'll be really pissed.
Yeah.
I think I thinking like she told us she wanted to taste his
my temperament.
his temper.
Yeah, my temper. Yeah, to see if I had a temper or not.
Yeah, so she was like, do you know Hajarah has a husband? And I also didn't know what the hell she was talking about. So I'm like, a husband? And she insisted on it, like, she has a husband. Did you talk to him? Does he know you're here? I'm like, what is she talking about? But I just kept it to myself and I was just waiting to see what's happening.
Yeah.
And then she's like, yeah, her grandfather. So in Uganda we call our grandfathers like husbands, and grandmother, like he would call my grandmother like his wife.
Yeah.
So that's what she was meaning about the husband. It was my grandfather. And he stayed calm eating. I think you're eating food. And he stayed calm eating his
Yeah,
food.
I kind of laughed a little bit and looked at Hajarah, and she had this look on her face like, I don't know what the hell she's talking about. And I was like, okay, she's just joking. She's just making a joke. But little did I know I was being tested. I just thought she was being funny, trying to make a joke. But she wanted to see if I was going to get angry or not.
Yeah, so it was crazy. They put him through all the tests you could think about. But he passed all of them.
Yeah, and I didn't take it personal. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. That's what families do, especially when you have somebody new coming around. You gotta make sure that they're okay. You can't just leave them around your family members unprotected. So I understood. I thought it was kind of funny, but I understood. I was curious, like, why they keep calling and texting? I was like, but it was fine.
But I think for me, with my family, like from day one when we started talking, a few of my siblings knew that we are talking. I think like 2 of them or 3. And every time they'll be like, are you sure about this? How is this going to go on? Because I think we took like 2 years, we took almost 2 years just talking. So everyone was just curious, is this really going anywhere? Why are you guys not meeting and all that? And I think his friends too were saying the same thing, like, do you trust this girl?
Right.
A lot of people think like you're asking for money.
Yeah, just trying to scam me,
Yeah,
take my money, or try to get a visa to come over here and stuff like that.
In those 2 years, almost 2 years, we talked about, I never asked for money. Like, I didn't ask for money, because one time we did a video, he talked about me somewhere, and then I saw a comment, someone saying, how much do you pay her a month? How much do you give her and all that? There was no money involved in our relationship dating. We've started talking more about money and sharing money and bills and all that after the
once
wedding.
we got married, that's when we really started talking the finances. But before that, it was never about the finances. It was just always about how we felt about each other.
I think we talked about the finances, like how do we want our finances to be and how we want to manage it and all that, how we want to share bills once we are married. But we actually never did. We talked about it just to make sure before we get married we know exactly what what to expect and what we both want to do as a couple. But we never really exchanged money, or him paying my bills, or me doing this for him, or him doing that for me. That includes money. But after we got married, then we started sharing bills.
Kameza?
Yes. So we started paying Kameza money. Yeah.
Watch out for the Kameza, guys. They don't tell you that till after you get married. I didn't even know anything about Kameza before we got married, so. I'm just playing.
It's okay. It's okay. But yeah.
We talked about the other things we did on the first trip. We went to Jinja. We saw the waterfalls. We took some really good pictures out there. We went to a resort right next to Lake Victoria.
It was Basilica Falls. It's called Basilica Falls. Yeah.
And I guess that was our first time to really be alone. Because the first couple of days we were interacting. I was meeting her and her family at the same time. And so when we went to Jinja, that was the first time where it was just me and her, and it was perfect. Magic. Everything. Yeah, so that's when I knew, I definitely have to come back soon.
Yeah, I think the first trip was really, really nice.
Yeah, it couldn't have been any better. It was perfect.
Because I had never dated someone like him, and when I was looking, I think the year I met you, because I see a lot of girls on our comments now, they be like, I want a white man, I want this, forward me to a white man, I want to get married to, and all of that. And we always talk about it, once I see these messages, we always talk about it.
Right.
And I'm like, it just doesn't come like that. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, for people who have been dated and then finally get married. You all know it's really a lot of work, a lot of patience, a lot of understanding. It takes a lot. For someone to just say, I need this, I need a white man, especially with our cultures, they are also different. There are things I do and he doesn't understand. There he does, and I don't understand. Even the way we talk, one time after breakfast, I'm like, "Hi, chef," and he's like, "Who is Jeff?" And I'm like, "I'm saying chef," and he's like, "Oh, chef."
Yeah.
How do you pronounce it? Chef.
But you pronounce it Jeff. Jeff?
I say chef.
Chafe?
Yes.
Chafe, and it kind of sounded like Jeff to me.
Yeah, and everyone was like, who the hell is Jeff? And I'm like, no, I mean chef. And you're like, oh, chef.
Yeah.
So it's totally different, and it's not that easy.
Right. But experiences like that are, they can be funny, and they bring you closer together. because we have experiences like that all the time. She'll try to speak in an American accent. I'll try to speak in a Ugandan accent, and we're both horrible at it, and we laugh at each other. But yeah, the first trip was perfect. I couldn't ask for anything better. And then, you know, that's when I started to really consider getting married.
Yeah, I think that's the trip you like. I need your ring size.
Yeah, that's when things started to change and my pace picked up. I wasn't in slow pace. I wasn't hesitant anymore. I was like, okay, this is the right person. This is the right woman for me. I want to marry her. I just need to come back, one more trip. I stay longer the next time, like a month.
Yeah.
And then, if everything went well, we get married. That was my thinking in my head. I still didn't want to rush into it. I didn't want to just go off of that 2-week visit. But I knew from that 2-week visit I wanted to marry her. I just needed to confirm it with us spending more time together,
Yeah.
But, so I guess, that's what we should leave off on this video. The next video will be about our second trip. And maybe we'll talk about the Mzungu white man issue.
Yeah, like the really, because when people be with him, they think it's all easy and you're getting all of that. But I think with the racism, I think in America it's different, and here it's totally different. So we'll talk about that, the differences and the difficulties. In Uganda, it's me who faces actually a lot of, I get a lot of comments and all that, more than him. It's always me getting all these crazy comments. So next time we'll talk about that, how it is, how difficult, and maybe the good thing about Brandon.
Yeah, and we'll talk about the difference of
cultures, how people perceive us, because they think it's always all about money and the visa.
Right.
The comments I receive more comments in Uganda more than him, because I think everyone loves him. Because I go to the same restaurant, like I could be going to the same restaurant, no one gives and no one cares about me. But once I walk in with him, and then you get all the attention and everyone is looking at you. So
yeah. I just think it's funny how a lot of people don't know that I'm mixed. They just think that I'm white. So we can talk more about
his family and how he's mixed, because everyone thinks he's white. Well, he looks white, but
my skin looks white, but there's a lot of different stuff going on inside here.
Yeah, he looks white, but once you actually interact with Brandon and talk to him, and then how he is, and
see my
he
family.
Has that African swag and all that, you actually know this is really a black man. Yeah. Because I interact with him and I relate to him, even though we live in totally different worlds. But I get him and he gets me because of that black side of him. Because I think every black person, wherever they are, be it America, be it in Africa, be it where, we have the same characters. There are those things that don't change.
Yeah, those little connections you make.
That don't change. Like you see people on TikTok doing this, and the Black Americans, and you're like, this is my family. This is so me. So I think that with the black people, there is always something.
Yeah. Well, until next time.
Until next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.